this time. So I'm welcoming all of you to Teaching Math with Adobe Express. I'm Alex Isaacs. I'm currently an educational technology coach at Long Branch Public Schools in New Jersey, but I'm a former grade 8 math teacher, also taught elementary math, STEM, science, many different classes, all different content areas and grade levels. So you're in very good company today as far as my ability to hopefully give you some tangible use cases and make it as obvious as possible that this is a tool where if engagement is something that you're really focusing on. And me personally, as a former math teacher, I could come up with the greatest math lesson in the world. If the kids are not engaged, it's going to be a problem for them to retrieve that information I just gave them. And this is a platform that will cause them to be a little bit more pride in work, a little bit more attentive, and wanting to take that extra step to do a great job. So I dropped that link in the chat as well. So that Adobe Express webpage, which I believe we just had someone else join us. So I'm going to drop that in one more time. And for anybody who joins late, if anybody in the audience would be willing to copy that tiny URL for me so that they can get registered, I would greatly appreciate that. Man, I don't even know. Oh, you know what? That's a great call. All right, very good. I've never done this. I've really very rarely, if ever, been a host. So the registration link is now pinned. Thank you for that advice. That was very helpful, Amanda. I appreciate that. So I am here on behalf of Adobe for Education and EdgeGain, which is one of Adobe's premium training partners. I've been working with them for about 3 years now. I'm an Adobe Creative Educator level 1 and 2 and innovator. So if by the end of this session, you're like, you know what, I'm actually kind of passionate about this. I like the badge that I got, you know, in about 7 working days once you complete this course, and you really want to kind of further your knowledge and kind of climb the chain a little bit. Great swag opportunities and a really amazing community. But we'll get to all of that soon enough. Now, again, I've been told that login with Clever is a little bit dicey right now, so I'm going to drop the Adobe Express homepage in one more time for everybody. And if you sign in with your school credentials, I've been told in the chat that that should get you in no problem. So when you get to this portion of the original web page that I pushed out to everybody in the chat, you're going to select this button that says Review Today's Training. So this is technically a Beyond the Basics type of event. Would everybody in the chat, would you all mind telling me from a 0, never really used Adobe Express before, to a 5, I'm highly skilled, know the platform inside and out, and have used it extensively? Would you all mind dropping your number of your proficiency, your confidence with this platform? It's been kind of novices. I had 2 sessions yesterday as well. My 0s and 1s, you're not 0s and 1s in my mind. You're going to be fine. You'll be able to hit the ground running and see some great use cases to use this in your own class. All right. So just a very brief intro to what you're going to be learning about today. Sonia, that's awesome. Glad to hear you have some experience, and we'll get you back up and running in no time. So we're going to explore Adobe Express's incredible curriculum-aligned guided activities and templates, learning how to integrate and share these ready-to-use assignments with students. So we're going to get you into a guided activity, and we'll explain what that is, how to find them, how to kind of sort through them. You're going to select one of them. I'm going to suggest one, but then we can all kind of be working on our own things, and you'll see why in a few moments. You're going to learn how to customize and assign activities within classrooms. So by the end of today, I believe from what I heard yesterday, some of our Clever classes from last year were still intact. But when that rollover happens, you'll automatically have your classes set up for you, and it'll just be a matter of assigning a task to them. In addition to that, you'll learn about some additional features like the Learn tab and other quick actions. And finally, I would love for this to be a very collaborative effort. You know, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes of a session. The more you all participate, hopefully create some designs that you'd be willing to share soon enough. I'd love to be able to take a look and give you that type of feedback. So really hopeful that you enjoy today's session, find it valuable for yourselves, and we're going to get going at this point. So before we get into our first activity, just want to briefly introduce the Adobe Express homepage to you. So if you were to go to that Adobe Express link that I shared earlier. Once you log in, you're going to see this page right here. Now, Adobe has just redesigned this home page where they are giving you the most common, frequently used quick actions under Create, Teach, and Edit tabs. So under the Create tab, you can have a quick action such as generating an image from AI. So any of my friends out there who have yet to use generative AI to create images, you're going to do so today if you choose to participate. Creating posters, creating a drawing where students can kind of color in a presentation, a web page, which is the professional learning website that I shared with you earlier, a logo, a QR code if you want to have your kids scan like a solution or hint or explanation, and animate character. That's going to be something that we focus on today because as a math teacher, I haven't forgotten how important it is for kids to be able to explain their understanding, explain their answers on those lovely standardized tests that we all enjoy so much. I'm being very sarcastic on that one. Kids are going to be expected to explain their answers. So you really have to, I love that, Sonia, great idea, definitely a possibility. I can try to find, I did summer safety superhero with kids at my school district, but just for the record, adopted this district-wide where I'm at in Long Branch, and just had such fun from hopping into math classrooms, going into environmentalism classrooms and doing environmental injustice projects with students. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's session. But from that main homepage, you're deciding what are you really looking to do here? And you can kind of figure out how to create an assignment. These are all either walkthroughs or boxes that will bring you directly to that action. Another thing that I want to highlight before we actually get into creating is this edit PDF option right here. It is extremely straightforward and it supports files up to 100 megabytes. Let's say you got a PDF of word problems and you want to change it between your blocks so that you don't have students at lunch maybe writing down answers. Again, this is my experience. I'm hoping that you're all dealing with little angels out there in Salinas County. I also had a very realistic group, that would really lay it on me. I'll keep it very simple. They would lay it on me every now and again, despite the level of accessibility and inclusivity I was always trying to give them, and the engagement I was trying to share with my passion for math. So you could take a PDF, simply go browse or drag it in, and it will allow you to then edit that PDF, change the numbers that are involved in a math problem, change the text, translate the text. So I just wanted to really share before we get into any creation, the PDF editor is a great option. And one more thing before we really get into the create aspect. Now, I do not have access to this because of the account that was set up for me through EdgeGame. I don't have the ability to download add-ons. I'm hopeful that you do. I just dropped a link in the chat that is going to bring up a math input calculator app that's going to allow you to have those authentic italicized variables, numbers that are rich text formatted. So I would highly recommend, and I would love for somebody in the chat to tell me if that is able to be installed. Oh, Jesse, that bums me out. Okay, Jesse, thank you for letting me know that. Everybody, I'm going to make a quick note of this to see if we can get that ability to download apps turned on for you. Because when I tell you, that's okay, Maxine. Maxine, it is pinned to the chat, so it should be at the top, okay? But no problem, glad to have you. If you want to drop your grade level in the chat, I would love to know. So I am going to follow up with Jen at the end of these sessions today and see if we could get that switched on for you. Because when I tell you that is an excellent option, boy, all my grade 8 math teachers stand up out there. Former grade 8 math teacher as well, Maxine, so you're in great company. I will try to get that turned on for you because that's going to be very helpful when the time comes for you to use this tool. Okay. 2 other aspects I want to kind of go over before we look through some activities for you to choose from. The first aspect is this Learn tab. Okay, so let's say that by the end of my New York, New Jersey accent, the hand gestures flying all over the place, the speed with which I talk, all of the different things, if you're still needing that additional reinforcement, that Learn tab over on the left side of the main homepage is where you want to go. Where this is also broken up by tabs, that give you all the different types of aspects you can look through and get bite-sized videos. We're not talking about asking you to sit here for 10, 15 minutes watching how to complete these different tasks. We're talking 3.5 minutes at most. So I would highly encourage you, you kind of say, I want to have my kids use video with Adobe Express, which again, me personally, when I had my kids actually using multimodal tools like video and audio especially, their work really elevated and they were more apt, one of the highest levels of thinking that I wanted from my kids, giving feedback that was meaningful to one another. So I still am very passionate about important aspects of a smooth running math classroom. And again, I can speak from personal experience that this is a platform that contributes to that. Okay, so that Learn tab is a great option for you to kind of explore additional stuff beyond what you learned today. But the other aspect that I want to share with you is the Educator Resources tab. Now, what's really great about this is all of these guided activities that you see above, these all have built-in video instructions. They are extremely accessible to learners and you. I know it can be tough sometimes to take that leap of trying a new tech tool. The tech isn't cooperating quite right. The kids get antsy. You don't know how everything's going to turn out. We're going to show you how to create your classes, but with these types of activities, again, this top row, you have opportunities to share something that are fully voiced, fully stepped out for learners to kind of follow along with. So I would highly encourage you, despite the fact that we're doing a math session today, this personalized name tent activity would be an excellent opportunity. The video reflection, maybe you have your kids reflect on their summer times. I believe you're going back on August 5th. So I know we're about 2 weeks out. I remember those first weeks of school where I was trying to think of stuff that would really make my kids engaged. I do feel for you all. I go back after Labor Day, although I'm 12 months, but the teachers come back after Labor Day. But we also get out later, obviously. So I would definitely recommend this name tent one, or if you want to kind of get to know your kids, I could show you some other examples that would really be an excellent opportunity. This design and action figure one. If you're in high school, might be a little bit too juvenile, but you're middle school and younger, I think that would be a great option as well. So all of these top ones, these have video instructions. Now, let's say I filter this to middle school math. It seems like that is the main group here. You not only have these guided activities broken down for you, but you also have these standard aligned classroom activities, including students making infographics, making posters, presentations, math concept visualization charts where they're using AI to generate images, and even class surveys to get that data. Again, I'm trying to keep it as middle school centric as possible, high school up. But you have all of these different things built right in that are standards aligned, ready to go. So this is a great opportunity. And then as you keep scrolling down, you'll get more little easy to use classroom templates that you could see here with some bar graphs and different types of graphs. So you really have some great options available from within this space right here. Now, to get started, these are the 4 math ones. I feel like the day and data one might be a little bit juvenile for my 8th grade and up math teachers. I also don't know if a video biography of a mathematician is the most appropriate either. I would say that the 2 would be best for the group we have in this lobby, in this Google Meet right now, would be design a geometric garden or visualize a word problem. Now, for me, I'm going to do the visualize a word problem because I know that it is universal for everybody in this room. I probably would venture to say that you hear different types of whining noises when you bring up word problems with children. Again, speaking from New Jersey, Red Bank, all that good stuff. But how can we get kids to not view word problems as a 4-letter word? And I can speak personally, and it's funny because, and I'm going to drop this link in the chat. If you'd prefer to do the design a geometric garden, you are more than welcome to do that. Jen, welcome. Managed to remember to do the recording this time, but hope you're having a great day at the conference. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat for the visualize a word problem activity. But if you would like to go into that design a geometric garden one more time, go into educator resources on the bottom left from the main homepage. I've heard that. Thank you, Jen. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hit this drop down and go to math, and then just simply click on that My Public Geometry Garden, okay? And I assure you the instructions are simple enough, and I'm actually going to show you how to use the generative AI in this activity so that you can kind of use that there as well. So if you want to click on that link, you will be brought into this template, and we're going to kind of build off of this as we go along. So look, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot and making you go through what kind of math program do we use out in Salinas for our middle school friends. I'm a big ideas math guy out in New Jersey. Is it Eureka Math? CPM? I've never heard of that. I have heard of IXL. My kids always gave me a hard time with that. Just really quick, an aside on Envisions. That's another one. That's the one that has like the animals on the front, if I recall. Just another website. This is not Adobe Express. I just want to make sure we all know about this one. If you're using IXL, thank you, Sonia, and you have options beyond IXL, if it's not like the district purchased one, Delta Math is an excellent website for middle school and above. Just wanted to drop that aside. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how. That's awesome, Jesse. I'm glad to hear that. That was one of my favorites. That's great. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm not trying to make you all expedite those last 2 weeks that you have and make you think of your best math word problem. But maybe you want to come up with a math word problem as like a brain teaser to start off the week with your kids. I'm just throwing it out there as a beginning of the year activity. I can show you additional activities that are not math themed in a little bit. That'll really be great to kick off your school year. But for now, I remember, what was it? Is it Pascal's triangle? Is that a thing, everybody out there, my math teachers, where you have the numbers and you're adding like the side by side and going diagonal inward? I think that's the one. That was one that I did with my kiddos. I'm glad it's a thing. I don't want to lose any credibility here as a former math teacher. I still do tutor kids in math, so I still kind of have it good enough up to Algebra 1. So the first thing I really want you to do is, do you have a word problem that, or a concept that you know would be really benefited by a visual? You know, that's what I kind of want you thinking about as a math teacher right now. What would be a concept or a word problem that would really benefit from a visual? Now, I, had to come prepared for this. I didn't want to make any mistakes or anything like that. So in order to change the text within a graphic on Adobe Express, all you have to do is double click within that space and you'll be in the text box. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with the I applied the Pythagorean theorem little thought bubble in the top right corner. And I'm going to change this because what I came up with was an area problem. Now, I know some of my 8th grade friends and a little bit higher, we could always kind of turn this into a surface area question, bring in those 3-dimensional prisms and stuff like that. But I want to kind of keep it basic to a degree because I wanted to get a good generated image for this. So I'm going to say area formulas in the real world. Okay, I applied the area formulas in the real world. That doesn't make sense. I applied, so again, that doesn't quite make sense. I'm now going to double click on the and delete it. So I applied area formulas in the real world to this problem. I got to tell you, I think that this template is missing a word. I believe it should say solve this problem. So I'm going to add that in. If you want to kind of change it from being on 2 lines to 1, just simply click on that side handle and drag it until it's on 1 line. And then you'll see underneath, you have that little crosshair. That's going to allow you to line this up, and you get those nice pink lines for keeping everything kind of symmetrical and even, okay? Let's say you don't like the color of that cloud, okay? I can click on that. What's happening here? There it is. I can click on the cloud. And if you're having trouble selecting something specific, on the right side, you'll see these squares. And what those are each of the different objects layered on this design. The higher your object is, the more forward it is in your design. The lower, the more in the background. So when I click on that cloud now, you can then go Effects, and you could choose any of these different options right here. But for now, I'll just keep it as that nice kind of darkish blue, or light blue, excuse me. And now I'm just going to simply cut and paste. I already created a little word problem that relates to this. So again, double clicking, I'm going to highlight this text. Let me get rid of this video over on the right side. Again, this is your video instructions right here if you're working on that geometric garden. I'm going to click and drag. Whoops. I'm going to click and drag over my text. And then I'm going to go Control V or Command V. So if you wanted to take one from your Envisions math book, your PDFs or anything like that, you can do that. And then I'm going to say, what is the total area of the gardens? Okay. Whoops, I wrote gradins. No good. All right. Now this is a next level step with the generative AI. Now technically this is not a beginner's level course right here, but I'm going to do my best to show you a very big pro tip, especially in math when it comes to generating images. So what I'm going to do right now is you can delete that green circle and text box right here. You do not need that, the arrow, all of that stuff. You're good on that, okay? You can get rid of the A, B, C, and D if you want as well. You know, that's up to you. I'm going to get rid of it because this isn't technically a Pythagorean theorem. But what I am going to do is I'm going to keep the triangle, or I'm going to keep the text boxes. So I'm going to kind of pull those meters over to the right because I know I've got some, you know, distance measurements within my word problem, and it's meters, luckily enough. I wanted to try to make it easier. What about parts of the triangle? Not the area. No, I am trying to find the area, I believe, Maxine. I think we have both of the parts of the triangle with the base of 4 meters and the height of 3. But I'll show you my kind of visual representation in just a moment. Now, this image right here, this is an image that was generated with Adobe Express's AI. Now, before we get into showing you how to do this, all you have to do to now pull this up is click on the image. So click anywhere on that treehouse that is in black and white, okay? And then you're going to go over to the left side and you're going to select this generate image button, and I'll zoom in for everybody, to the right of the Sheba with the rainbow background and the little meters on it. You're going to click on that. And what you'll see is that prompt right at the top of the screen. So this is a prompt. I'm trying to treat this as if some of us might not have much experience with AI. That is the prompt that created that image. Okay, so now what I did, you're going to edit this prompt to whatever visual representation you like. And I just want to make sure we all know that there are great safeguards built into this. I know kids can sometimes go off the beaten path. You don't have to worry about that with this. It will decay anything. It's going to give you red text saying, please refine your prompt. If you do anything that could even be slightly construed as inappropriate. So I already have a prompt. You might have to come up with something a little bit more specific. But this is what I came up with. Top-down view of a backyard garden layout with a rectangular lawn and 2 triangular flower beds on either side. Now, I will say this. There would probably have to be a little bit of a disclaimer of not to scale when dealing with creating something with AI and that kind of stuff. You don't want to throw kids off being like, well, I see this side is this thing. But for the most part, the one that I've previously created is pretty good. Now, here's the pro tip that I really want people to kind of focus in on if you're trying to create like maybe a number talk for a launch or a bell ringer, whatever we call them out in Salinas. There are these 2 boxes underneath that have style and composition. If you want your generated image to look like, that's awesome, Sonia. If you want your created image to look like something that you have seen or you've previously created, click on that composition button. And now I don't think you're going to see it. Okay, so I have the pop-up window now that shows all of my files. What I'm going to do is, I think everybody can now see, I added in these 2 triangles on either side with the rectangle in the middle. Okay, so that is right there ready to go. The triangles are going to be my garden. The rectangle is going to be my rectangular portion of that garden. Okay, so I've added that to kind of base the overall graphic on. All right. So now that I have that in, I'm going to change from photo to auto, but you can keep whatever you like. And now underneath, you're going to select generate. And what's going to happen is you're going to get 4 different versions. Now, please do not hold it against me or Adobe Express if some of these do not look quite right. However, I've got to say, some of these look excellent. And I'm actually going to go with this one right here. Okay? So now, actually, you know what? This one looks a little bit cleaner to me. Now, I can appreciate that everybody's kind of saying, well, what's up with that black and white deal right now? If you go back out, now that I've got my image that I like, and exit out of the generate image aspect, I can now go to effects, and you should see, where is that? Why is that happening? Okay, it's under the tones. It was set to grayscale. Simply change it to none, and you'll be ready to go. So what we're trying to do here, once again, is we're trying to create a visualized prompt that's going to represent our word problems. And then what you can also do is simply fill in how you solved it, along with the final answer in that green dotted rectangle. And you can also add your prompt underneath right here. So I'm going to show that one more time. Click on your generated image. Whoops. Go to generate image. And now I have this new prompt that I took. I'm going to highlight this, go Command C, and now paste it in to this bottom rounded rectangle in my template. Bam, there it is. Now, at this point, you all have enough ability, along with the video over on the right side, to attempt working on this template. I'm going to give you all plenty of time as I actually work on this on my end. So I would say find a word problem that might engage your kids to start off. Think of a number talk that you would like to do with your kids. I always like to incorporate high ceiling, low floor activities with my number talks to get my kids participating and engaged in the lesson. So really what we're doing, we're going to change that image. If anybody forgets how to change from the black and white, just go to effects and then go to none undertones. And you're going to add in your own word problem, show how you solved it, and then change the prompt and the image. So if we could do that, I would say I'm going to give you all 20 minutes to really explore the platform. Feel free to kind of take a look. Feel free to go to that other guided activity and use the video as you walk through. But if you need anything, please drop it in the chat or simply hop off of mute. I'd be happy to listen and drop some additional ideas on you, okay? And what I'll do is, if anybody's not in at this point, I will drop the template link one more time into the chat. And for anybody who might be in a different spot, like the home page, just click on those educator resources in the bottom left corner, filter it to math, and you will see this math word problem visualization. And if you want to change any of the text, simply highlight that text box that you're looking at. And what's really nice about Adobe Express is it gives you recommended fonts that actually show what the whole bit of text box will look like in that new font. If you kind of like a font but want something similar and it's not quite what you're looking for, you could click on that View Similar Fonts button, which is that double tilde in the top left corner to kind of get fonts that are similar to that.
I'm trying to get a soccer field with a diagonal going across the soccer field, and I can't get an image for that.
So you're saying as far as generating one, or just
yes, generating with AI. So I typed in the prompt, and I was trying to mess, with the effects, but I don't think it understands what I'm trying to get at.
I can fully appreciate that.
Giving me a corner of a baseball field. It's giving me something not soccer field.
I'm going to do everything I can right now. So
are you going to try to recreate? Okay, let's see.
Yeah, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try. So let me go in here. So are you seeing 3 dots in your bottom right corner, Sonia?
3 dots in my bottom. Let me see. Yes.
Okay, click to the right of that and go add page, okay?
Okay.
Really doesn't matter. You could go same size. That's fine.
Add new. All right. Let me see. There we go.
Okay. So under elements, I would now type in triangle.
Elements.
Let's see if right triangle comes up. It does. Okay, so we're under elements now, and I typed in right triangle.
Let me see. Hold on a second.
Sure, you take your time.
Well, where's elements again? Because I'm not. Is it at the bottom?
In the workspace, over to the left, over here on this sidebar, you'll see this
upload, templates, media, text.
Might have to scroll down a bit, Sonia. Might have to scroll down a bit.
Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. I couldn't see it. It was at the bottom. Okay, so there I am.
Okay, so I would then type in right triangle. And I would pick the longer of the two. So for me, it was the first one on the left.
First one on the left.
So underneath shapes.
Yes. Okay, there it is.
So when you click on that, bring it into your workspace, and then you see this little arrow underneath?
Yes.
That's going to allow us to kind of rotate it. I'm going to make it vertical. So I kind of picture a soccer field kind of looking like this, okay?
Okay.
All right, now, you good with cutting and pasting stuff?
Yes.
So cut and paste this right triangle now, okay, so that you got a duplicate.
The duplicate sounds like it's over here on this side, unless I can drag. Hold on, let me see.
So just make sure that you're clicking on the one right triangle, and then just hit Control-C and then Control-V.
I cut and paste. I didn't copy and paste.
Oh, that works. Well, then just do Control-V twice.
No, it's okay. Control-V. There we go.
Sure. So now I would take this other triangle that's completely symmetrical to the other one, and now I'm going to rotate it so that it's kind of reflected, so to speak. Not really, but rotated. Excuse me.
You're visually creating the field
just as a reference image. So this helps sometimes because it can get very difficult and challenging to get the AI to create exactly what we're looking for.
Okay, I have it.
Okay, so once you have this, okay, and I know this is some steps. I get it, believe me. Once you have this set up right here, and if anybody else has any questions, please let me know in the chat or hop off of mute. You're welcome to do so. Go up top and click on that download button, okay?
So I'm going to download it. I'm going to download this as an image.
You're going to download this as a PNG, the selected page that you're on with the 2 triangles, okay? All right, so I'm going to go download.
I did.
Beautiful. Now, back in that AI prompt that you were on earlier, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to select composition, right? I'm going to select this file.
Exactly. You're going to now upload that composition. I'm hopeful that that now gets you a soccer field with a diagonal line going through.
Let's see if,
I'm rooting for you, Sonia. Keep me posted.
Let's see if it does. Let me see now. Generate.
I feel the pressure right here, Sonia. I'm hoping that this really is effective right here. If not, I'm going to look like a charlatan.
No. Let me go to download. Where am I? There it is. Okay, about reference images, you can upload to the guide, confirm. Cannot generate. Let's see what it gives me now.
I'm really rooting for you, Sonia, to go through those steps. I really hope that it's working well for you.
It's taking longer to generate, so we'll see.
Okay, so it's using that reference.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You did a lot
now
better.
I see a soccer field. Let me see. It doesn't have the dynamo, but I see the soccer field now.
Okay, so a little bit better now.
Better. Let me see which one I can choose.
Sonia, you just made my day. Thank you.
There we go.
And then if you don't like the 4, you can always hit generate more underneath. With your EDU accounts, you get like 500.
That was what I was looking at. I'm like, maybe I could choose.
More than welcome to do that.
Okay. That's a common problem. You have a soccer field and you want to find the distance. I'm like, because the coach is going to make you run across from corner to corner.
Absolutely. Love that real world example. And I did look up the demographics of your student population. I know that there is a very large Latino and Hispanic contingent. I know that that's really meeting them where they're at and being culturally responsive, because I'm sure that we have a lot of soccer fans.
Yes, that's the one. There. That's the number one response. What do you want to do when you're older? You want to be a professional soccer player.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them are involved in soccer teams, whether in our school or around our community.
I love it. I love it. That was a very similar school community to where I taught for 3 years. So that population is very near and dear to my heart. And I was in only multilingual classrooms, so can fully appreciate trying to make stuff that's accessible for them.
Mm-hmm. I just don't like the picture in the background. Let me see if I can change that. I'm just playing with it right now.
And Sonia, you can add to your prompt plain background, or you can kind of work wording like that as well. And you can also remove the background. So if you want to try clicking on your image and then clicking on this dog over on the left side under the edit tab, you could do that too. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna play with it a little bit. Let's see if I can do.
Keep me posted. But I really appreciate you taking those steps, and now you know how to do it. So I know you'll remember that now.
Yes.
Awesome. So if you all need to rotate those meters or whatever numbers you have on top of your generated image, simply click on that arrow and drag left or right to rotate it. So I'm going to start labeling my shapes on here. I'm going to give everybody about 10 more minutes to work on visualizing a math word problem. So what do we got? We've got that the base of the flower beds are 4 meters. I'm going to change that to 4.
How do you make the, I know you went over it, but I think I missed that part. How do you make it not grayscale? So I have color.
When you click on your image one more time, my friend, just go to Effects, and then under Tones, click None. I guess the brighter version with color. Jesse, I'm sorry. Did that work for you, my man?
Yeah, it worked. Thank
awesome. You got it. Anytime. All right, 4 meters. And then we got a height. Just for the record, if any of you are looking to like add in a line or like to kind of show a dimension, if you're doing something with the Pythagorean theorem or with area or surface area or a 3-dimensional figure, simply go over to the Elements button and then type in whatever you're looking for. I'm going to type in line. And now I can select this one right here, and you'll see that it is brought in. And once you click on it, you could change the border thickness and also the color. So I'm going to make this white, and then you just drag one of those circles around, and it'll allow you to make it completely vertical. All right. Now, this activity, I would be having kids create their own word problems based on the concept that I was currently teaching them. And again, personally, Pythagorean theorem I was doing, and kids come up with such creative aspects. That's something to really keep in mind. Those great places that kids really want to work. Adobe tools are one of those things that are going to separate them from becoming, more desirable in that incoming workforce, so to speak. Any text that you want to duplicate, simply click off of it, then click on it, and then you can just do Control-C and Control-V. So again, it looks like these would probably be equilateral triangles. So there would probably be a little bit of like scale, not drawn to scale kind of talk that would be appropriate in this case. But I think that kind of shortfall a little bit is okay for that student engagement as long as it's kind of designated and stated clearly. And I will also share, it's probably my own fault for the composition I used that kind of had those equilateral triangles being in place in that composition one. And then it's 6 by 4 meters for the rectangle. Oops. If anybody's having trouble with the image kind of getting caught and then moving around with you, just right click it once and go lock. And then you don't have to worry about that moved around. Now you won't be able to edit it anymore, so keep that in mind. But if you find that it's moving around while you're trying to move the meters or any other text that you've got, feel free to just right click and then hit that lock button. All right, so we've got 4 meters there, and then it's what? 6 meters vertical. All right. And I guess if we're really splitting hairs here, if I was a math teacher, probably wouldn't write out all of meters, would probably just write an M for the abbreviation, but I think we'll be okay. You can kind of see what I'm doing regardless, okay? And again, with that math calculator that I'm going to do everything I can to see if it can get turned on for y'all, you have those subscript and superscripts available to you. But you can see I actually cut and pasted from a subscript and superscript that I had in Google Docs. And you can see that it did come in appropriately. So that's a nice piece as well, if you cut and paste from something. One more thing that I want to share with all my math friends out there. Not sure if you are aware of this website. Let's say that Adobe Express calculator doesn't come to fruition. Symbol Salad has all different math characters, all with rich text formatting that are able to be pasted into your file. So just wanted to throw that out there, another little trick of the trade that I really liked using back in the day when I was in the classroom. All right. One more time, whatever prompt you used, just make sure that you cut and paste it in this like kind of light blue rounded rectangle underneath the image. And let's say that your rectangle isn't as long as you'd like it for your answer. Click on that dotted line rectangle and now simply drag it to how wide you'd like it to be. All right, I think that my little visualization of a word problem is complete. All right, everybody.
I did it. I have my problem.
Sonia, a problem in a good way, or like you're having
no, a problem in a good way. I have my image. I have the problem. I need to do for my example. It says soccer players are asked to run across a soccer field from one corner to the other.
Yeah.
They need to keep track of their distance they are running. So to do this, the players must figure out the distance across the diagonal. The soccer field has a width of 100 yards and a length of 130 yards. Calculate the distance the players must run across the diagonal.
I love it.
So
I absolutely love
example. It. And then I'm just going to put on here on the side. Let me see.
Sonia, love it. It sounds perfect to me.
Okay. Just wanted to say, there it is. There's no problem.
Really appreciate it. And you're going to have the opportunity to share soon enough. I'm going to show you how to publish your design. Not that everyone in the world can see it, but yes.
But it was a design generated by AI. I didn't do it.
No, that's okay. Well, you did. I mean, I have a lot of people tell me that with the AI aspect, it was your prompt. You know, yes, I kind of gave you that composition piece, but you know, the more you use AI, the more that originality kind of comes through. And I'm really excited. I hope that you'll be willing to share your view link by the end of this. All right, a few more minutes out there. And don't worry, we're actually going to come back into this design, and I'm going to show you the next step, that next level of understanding that we hope our kids kind of have, especially in a math classroom. One other thing that this is the first time I've failed to do it in the last couple days. When you go into your original design after clicking on a template or just starting a new activity from scratch, this untitled bar in the top of your screen that I'm going to zoom in on, that actually gives you the date and time that the design was started on. So it's nice from a perspective of even, you're not just going to get untitled, untitled 1, untitled 2. You will get the date and time that you started, but we want to kind of give this a title. And I'm just going to say Alex's visual word problem. Okay. I'm going to be quiet so everybody can kind of focus on their word problems for a bit longer. If you don't like the colors of certain aspects, like this rounded rectangle in the bottom right, that's not a graphic, so you won't have to go into duotones or anything like that. You can go to this fill button over here. I just need a picture of our student. That'd be very cool, Sonia, as well. Like, yeah, like if you could get a picture of all of them playing soccer, or like an aerial view, or I don't know, like that's really high in the sky, getting like a drone shot while they're playing. You know, you could add them into that type of bell ringer activity. So love the idea. Love the juices kind of flowing, Sonia. Sounds great. I would definitely say, you know, probably a little bit more focused on those number talks and the geometric aspect in math. I mean, if I go into that image, you know, generative image feature, I can't be like, give me a group of linear systems of equations to solve, you know? All right. I guess I could show you one last thing. I promise. One last thing. So it appears that this is a background. Okay, let's say that, you know what, I did a garden that's in the middle of the sunlight, or I did a soccer field and it's daytime. You know, I don't like this starry night background kind of deal. Okay, simply go over to media over on the left side. And I'm going to type in sunset, because it kind of looks like the sun setting in that image of mine. And let's say that I wanted to choose this one right here. You could then click on that image that you brought in, go set as background, and now you've got your lovely new background right there. Okay, so you have some excellent Adobe stock video, audio, images, anything you need in order to make a dynamic design that engages your students. I mean, think about the last anchor chart you made. You could make a digital anchor chart that's available to students at home, you know, on the steps for solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides. You know, that's just, you know, what's it called? Special case solutions with linear systems of equations. You have all of these different options to create from templates, and we'll show you that a little bit later. All right. So my hope is that everybody at least has a good start to their visualized word problem, or if you decided to create that geometric garden, by all means, feel free to do that one as well. And we're going to show you now the next step in order to kind of really elevate this to the next level. Okay, so we took care of our guided activity. We started it. We saw that there were videos involved. and we can kind of follow those directions, us, our students, all of that good stuff. I'm going to go back into my visual word problem. Now, this is the one. This is the one where when I was in the classroom right now, providing translated materials for students and their families. Do we have a math night in your schools and districts? Are families coming to that kind of event? We had a math night at my previous school where we did math trivia. We did it virtually. It was during the COVID times. But if you have a math event going on at night, a flyer from Adobe Express would be a great option. Back to school night coming up, probably by beginning of September, end of August. This is what you can do with this platform. All right. So I'm going to go back to my stars just because I feel like it was kind of obscuring some of the wording and stuff. Now, I want to make this accessible to my students who might not be native speakers of English. Okay. You should all see above your workspace the translate button over here all the way to the right. And I'm going to click on that. And when you click on that, this side panel opens one more time. And you'll also notice that all of the text on your page is now highlighted. Okay? Now, this is the aspect that really separates Adobe Express from other design platforms when it comes to translation. I can do multiple. So I'm going to do Spanish. I'm going to do Portuguese. And I'm going to do, I think that the next most spoken one in my district is French. Now, you know your demo. You know what your kids speak the most. We have a Ukrainian student in my school district. But now I'm going to select translate. Now, this does use AI, so there is that little bit of, would you want to kind of give this a second, run through with somebody who's native in that different language? Probably, yeah. We want to make sure, but your students will let you know. Believe me, you give them a word problem that's been translated, they're going to tell you, hey, this is wrong. This sounds like Spanish. This sounds like Spanish from Spain compared to Spanish from, American or Mexico. So what I really love is the fact that above in parentheses, you have Tagalog. Will it translate to this language? Sonia, I honestly do not know that one. Feel free when you're translating, take a look. I will be sure to check that one out as well. Absolutely. So it's just that translate button above your design. And now when I double click on these designs, you will see everything. Every bit of text that was a text box on there has now been translated to that new language. And when I tell you, Sonia said it best, that time-saving aspect of this is amazing. So I would highly recommend you're communicating with parents, make a festive flyer about a project that you did. If you do a newsletter, you could do an Adobe Express web page or just a presentation kind of showing what your kids are working on. But I really am very passionate about making sure everybody knows where that translate button is, especially considering I know, you're catering to groups that can use that additional support at times. So I really do hope that you take advantage of that. One more thing that I really want to share before we take this to the next level is if you don't like anything that you ever did in your design, just hit that back undo button right above your design, right over here next to the view percentage. Okay? All right. So before I kind of share with you all what I think really now elevates this platform to an even greater level with engagement and the ability to show, visible thinking and get student voice really promoted within your classes. Are there any questions out there? Are we feeling okay? Can people drop some thumbs up on me with the emojis or, just say all good in the chat, just letting me know that everybody's okay. I hope I haven't lost anybody. Hope the pace is going okay so far and that my very virtual background is not annoying anyone. I'm very thankful to see all the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Always the chat is open. Feel free to hop off of mute. I'm very appreciative of these festive emojis coming at me right now. Okay. So at this point, John, that's the only thinking emoji I received. Please drop it into the chat or feel free to hop off of mute. I'd love to be able to have a back and forth with you as soon as I'm done kind of showing this ability to add voice to our design. Okay. So the great aspect of Adobe Express is There's the ability to add voice, audio, video, all within this space, not needing another tool. Now you can upload any of those 3 media types, audio, images, video, any of that good stuff. But what's really a great option is going over to media and then selecting, if you're on all, I would probably, let me get rid of sunset. Go over to videos at first. And what you will see under videos, unfortunately, everybody's going to see my very sad actual background here in just a moment. It is very tan and very sad. You can click on record yourself. Now you actually see me in the very sad confines of my office. But this is going to allow students to add video. This is the newest tool that was added by Adobe just at the end of the school year. The June challenge, which they have monthly challenges, was a reflection piece where we were using this video front-facing camera. So they just added this. Let's keep it real. As far as ease of use, you've got your rectangle right here. This is not going to be the permanent position. You have a 5-minute limit for recording, but I'm going to hit start recording, and I'm going to use this as far as to explain my answer. So you get your countdown. I solved my math word problem by finding the area of the rectangle, finding the area of one of the triangles and multiplying that by 2, and then adding those 2 products together. My total garden area in the end was 36 meters squared. If any of your experiences are like mine, just asking my kids to do that was like asking them to split an atom sometimes. However, you can now preview your video right here. And if you like it and you feel good about it, you can go save recording. Now, boy, I look very odd with that face pause. We definitely don't want to be covering up our wonderful graphic right here. And they only add their audio. Sonia, not sure what you mean by that, but you can add, are you talking about like, can you upload as well? Is that your question?
No, it's just, I used to use Loom a lot. I had my students create video presentations, and they would, kind of go through their Google Slides or whatnot. Yes. And they would be recording themselves, right?
They can upload videos in.
Yeah. And so a lot of the students didn't want to have their face showing. Sure. And so they wanted the camera off, or they wanted to have the option of it's still recording, they're still explaining or giving their presentation, but it's just their voice. So I was wondering if that's a possibility where they can just be recording their audio. And I know Cami allows for them to do that as well. They can, absolutely, add a little section or do like a explanation of a paragraph or a section that they need to do, or notes. They could just add the voice, their audio recording. So I'm just, they're middle schoolers. Yeah, they're middle schoolers.
Sonia, I know what you mean. That's actually very accurate. A lot of my kids didn't. Now, I had those other kids that would love to be on camera, and they lit up while they were on there. However, I would say the majority of kids felt far more comfortable without staring down the barrel of that front-facing camera. So we are going to show you that in a moment. One other thing, when you bring in a video or an audio component, your design is now, boy, my faces are really bad. Oh, these are all, that's about as good as it gets. I apologize, everybody. I'm going to first resize this. Let's try to resize it. Why is it not allowing me to do that? All right, hang on. Here we go. Okay, we're going to pinch in on that corner handle. And considering this page is already a little bit kind of packed, and you can always drop down this little video editing area with this drop down arrow, I'd probably say that maybe you get rid of that prompt and you kind of just put it over here. But I'm not going to keep this one simply because I think audio would be more appropriate only on this one. Now, if you ever wanted kids to kind of upload a Loom, as you just said, Sonia, absolutely, you can do that. You go under media, you go to videos, and you'll see upload from your device. So as long as they have that MP4, they'll be able to bring that in. One more thing I want to share about my video. You can click on the video that you bring in and go to edit, and you will see that there's a video background removing tool as well. So I'm going to click it to see how long it takes us. If it's overly long, I'm going to move on. But think about what kids could do if they could get a, full shot of themselves with their cell phone, being at a famous, mathematicians, whatever, or going back to ancient Greece with Pythagoras, where this, formula was invented. It allows you to really kind of shrink down the space being used with that front facing camera, but it's also going to allow kids to kind of be anywhere. And obviously the plainer the background, the better. But at the same time, if you have a green screen at your schools, be an amazing opportunity to remove background from video as well. So I'm going to let that keep running just so that everybody can see that. And now let's I think it will continue to remove the background even if I change back to media. Okay, hey, there it is. There I am. Now, again, I'm not sharing audio with you, but if I hit play, it's not bad. Like, my hand was a little blurry, but I think kids would really get a kick out of using that tool if I wanted to do like a little miniature version. And now that I lost the background, now I could put myself kind of here, almost like how many of their TikTok and Instagram people do, where they shrink themselves down and then kind of move all around the screen. So I will keep Alex of the explaining there for just a moment, while I kind of show you that if you go to the media audio tab, Sonia, this is where that recording of the voiceover comes into play. No pressure on the students. They can have a script typed up right here. And something else that's a really excellent option is this ability to enhance speech. Okay, so even if we're dealing with Chromebooks that don't have the best internal mics, or even your own device is not functioning the best, that enhanced speech option is going to make you sound much closer to studio quality than before. So I want to tell you, you can turn it on after the fact, but I always tell people to throw that on. Now, I'm not going to show you another recording. It's basic enough. You click that purple button. The microphone up top is telling you how loud you're talking. You could choose from your different microphones that you have available to you with that drop-down arrow. Now, Sonia, in my opinion, and everyone, the most engaging way for students to incorporate audio while making it engaging, but not having to be on camera, is either when you're under media, go to videos or audio, and now click on animate characters. Now, I can only speak from, again, I've been a broken record over 2 days. I'm speaking from my own experience. Any group that I've come in contact with from first grade all the way up to 12th grade, first grade class to a 12th grade environmentalism class talking about environmental injustices like Flint, Michigan, and the BP oil spill and all of that kind of stuff. This has always been a hit. Okay, so we're going to be able to create a character now that lip syncs with what you say. Now, you'll see that I have mouth only up. Mouth only is, let's say that you wanted to bring in Pythagoras. Okay, you wanted to bring, I know we keep going back to Pythagoras, but I know that that's a good geometric type of, concept. You could bring in a picture of Pythagoras and then put a mouth over him, and you could be Pythagoras. You could be specific to your students. I heard Lucio had a great test recently, and I'm here with this bell ringer for the day. That was the stuff I was doing. I could get bored with my own stuff sometimes, the monotony of the day-to-day. So I was trying to make it as entertaining as possible. But what is most likely for all of you is that you're seeing this page. And if not, just hit that drop down and then go to all. Now, when I tell you they're adding new characters to this monthly, they are. They have special needs students. They have culturally responsive characters. They have animals. They have inanimate objects. There's a calculator in here. You want to talk to them as Callie the calculator? Ooh, I got to tell you, that's an amazing idea. Not only are you from California, but the name, I'm just really dropping some gems. I apologize. But you have all different types of possibilities here for you, okay? Let's say that you want to break it up a little bit around Valentine's Day. You're letting your kids, make Valentine for one another. Look at these great ones. Corazon, they're going to know that that's heart in Espanol. So what I'm going to do, I believe that Emmerich kind of looks like me, okay? I kind of feel that way. Maybe 10 years ago, if I was also trying to get my goth on slightly, okay? You have that enhanced speech option. And just for the record, you can upload each of these different audio types up to 2 minutes and 1 gigabyte max. So if you have some other type of audio recording tool or you just did a quick voice memo on your phone and you upload it onto your computer, you can then import it for your character's audio. So I'm going to turn on enhanced speech and I'm going to click on record. I solved this math problem by using area formulas of rectangles and triangles. Hit done. And one other thing that I forgot to mention, it was default for me. If you want your character coming in with no background, make sure that under that background tab, you have transparent selected. Because I don't want to have like a dungeon or an outdoor whatever for my character Emmerich here. Once you hit done, you'll see that it's processing over here on the right side. So again, you all told me that you have bell ringer activities to kind of kick off your class. I'm sorry, I'm pretty objective. I'm not trying to be just like a shill to Adobe Express. If you had one of these characters introducing the word problem, or maybe giving your kids a hint, maybe throwing that out there, I think that would be a pretty cool way to kick off the class, where now I can bring in Emmerich. I'm going to tuck him over here. And again, I'm so bummed out that I can't get the audio sharing quite right because I'm on my personal email in the Meet and I'm on my Adobe Edge Gain over here. But I assure you, if I zoom in on my Emmerich friend over here and I hit play, now my hand got cut off. Whoops, I don't want to do that again. My hand got cut off a little bit because I wasn't quite fully fitting with Emmerich inside of that space. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you all the option. Video reflection for your design, audio only, or an animate character. My recommendation would be that animate character because, again, kids are not under the gun. You could have a script ready to go, and they're also providing that extra engagement for individuals viewing their designs. Imagine a digital gallery walk where kids are able to listen to everybody's explanations and then provide them feedback in the comments. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to show you all one more time how to do this. And then I'll give you ample time to explore this feature. Go to media, and this is going to be tough for me. I'm going to have to be quiet so I don't interrupt anybody. I often have kids record. You just hear me shouting stuff in the background. Go to media, select videos or audio, and go animate characters. Pick whichever one you like, and then go background and make sure it is set to transparent. You can also select your character by clicking on them on the left side and then clicking and dragging. Some of them have legs cut off. I will say that is a thing. Don't be frightened. You could always just kind of put your character at the bottom of the screen. And if you just simply wanted to have your character with the background, you could do that as well. You can also change the size. So let's say you wanted an Instagram TV kind of style template where kids could be like, hey, this is a social media type deal. You could do that as well. So at this point, it's going to be very challenging for me, but I'm going to try to be silent, where if anybody has a question, please drop it in the chat. I will then try to either type out my response or quietly whisper to you on the other end. But I hope you take advantage of at least giving one of those ways to make this multimodal a chance right now. Okay, so I'll give everybody, I guess, about 15 minutes. And then we'll pick up from there. And I'm going to set a timer this time to keep me honest. All right, away we go. I'm going to try to talk very quietly. I'm just dropping into the chat. I can never help myself but sharing math resources with fellow math teachers, especially so many that are in grade 8. I just shared my main page that has all of my math resource hubs. And I'm also going to share the created bell ringers for an entire school year, monthly. You are more than welcome to take a look at those, use them. Don't even click on the link, whatever you would like. Really? All right, give me a second, Kimberly. I know that the other link will work. Let me take a look. It's a bummer. All right. Thank you, Amanda. Couldn't be that, Sonia. I think it's the fact that I didn't make them public. Would you all mind trying that first link one more time and tell me if you see one for chapter 1 on multi-step equations? I did make the link public. Let me know if that worked. Jesse, that's awesome. So here's what I could tell everybody. If you like the look of that first one and you feel like this might be a good thing for you to kind of hang on to, bookmark those 2 links. And I assure you, by the time school starts, I will make each of my different boards public for you and your students. Okay. So I would be happy to do that. Again, use them to the fullest. That's all I hope. Okay. So one more time for everybody out there. At this point, we've hopefully created our math graphic that represents a visualized word problem. We are now adding our voice to our example, either explaining how we solved it, or maybe just simply reading the word problem out loud. You could do either one that you like. I'm going to quickly mute myself and do one more animate character on the fly. I will say with regard to those bell ringers, the calendar's probably a couple years off with the dates. You can always delete that if you like, if you feel like it's a little juvenile. I had many students with special needs. Yes, Kimberly, we are September through mid-June. So beginning of September to mid-June, eh, out here in New Jersey. You got it. All right, I've got my guy Emmerich over here, right in the corner. Try not to chop his legs off, so just kind of moved him down a bit. It's not covering my answer. I love it. Sonia, that is a very popular one, believe me. I've actually seen many people on Instagram and TikTok use that one. The pencil is with the big eyes. That's a big one. All right, everybody. Try to start putting the finishing touches on your audio and whatever else you were working on with your math word problem. And what we're going to do is I'm really hopeful that some share links can be dropped into the chat. Yes, Jesse, you can have collaboration going on in real time. What will happen is you'll see little cursors kind of going around the screen with the different student names. And how you would do that, you would go up to share, whoever would start the file, whichever one of your students, or if it was you working with team members, once you create it, go into add people or groups, type in their usernames, or go down to who can access. Anyone with the link can edit, and then just simply copy that link in. So yes, this does have the collaboration piece built right in very effectively because it kind of keeps track of whose cursor is who as well. All right. So at this point, I'm going to show you how, I showed you earlier how to download the design, I believe. No, I actually showed you how to download that composition deal. So if you have an audio component, absolutely, Jesse. And again, like the more you kind of play around, the more you go into that learn tab and kind of experiment with some stuff, the better you'll get with and the more confident. I can tell you that. And again, you know, I took that leap just to try to get some more engagement out of students, make it more real world centric. And with this tool, you can really do that. So I've got my little Emmerich here in the bottom right corner explaining my answer and solution. Maybe you've translated your piece. Regardless, we can always just simply go download. And if you have that audio or video element, it's going to automatically default to an MP4, okay? You can always just click download and have your design be exported that way. But the other option you have is to click share first. And then go, I'm going to change this to only invited people. Go to view only link. And now let's say that you wanted your kids to take what you created and now make their own original word problem. And you liked your template more than the starting one. Let's say you translated the template and you wanted to get it to them. You can click on allow others to remix. And then they're going to get the opportunity to edit the template on their own. And I know that the question is always kind of in the back of mind of some people, is that going to impact my template? No, it makes a copy for your students. And then they're going to be able to make it their own, okay? But considering I don't really want anybody getting rid of Emmerich or my lovely little gardens over there, I'm going to turn that one off, and I'm going to click Create Link. Now, I will say this, it can sometimes take a little bit more time depending on how much media you have involved in your design. But what this is going to allow you to do is create a public view link that regardless of whether a person has Adobe Express installed or the device that they're on, they are going to be able to access and view your design just as you completed it. Now, I will say this. Once that public view link happens and it's created, if you change anything in your graphic, and there it is, it just popped up. If you change anything in your graphic, you have to click the update link button, which is right underneath right here, in order to have that new change be reflected to any viewers. Okay, so if you would actually like to hear my Emmerich talking out my solution, feel free to click on that blue link that I just dropped into the chat. Okay, I'll give everybody a few moments to do that if you'd like. Now, what I'm hoping for is that some brave souls who have that copy link underneath, if they would be willing to drop that into the chat, where I'm going to probably cut and paste those into a little doc and watch those a little bit later to be able to give some great feedback. I would love to be able to do that. I do believe Adobe is still giving away swag for great participants. I've already got some eyes on some names in the chat and people who have been great participants today. So not forcing anybody, but if you'd like to share your math word problem with the group, feel free to drop that share link within the chat at this point. Okay. All right.
I still need to work on mine a little bit more. I want to
Perfect, Sonia.
message
You'll have the
bit.
opportunity. Don't you worry.
Yes.
Works for me.
Oh, I need at least another 10, 15 minutes.
Works for me. That's no problem. Okay. So we took that guided activity and we remixed it. We've hopefully got either the word problem or the geometric garden working. Ooh, that was the timer. I actually jumped the gun a little bit. My apologies, everybody. One thing before we get into kind of creating classrooms and stuff like that, that I just wanted to share with everybody. I mean, actually, for the Amber, all you have to do is from the main Adobe Express homepage, you should see it underneath in the recents. And Amber, that's actually a pretty good question. Everything auto saves on here. It is not gone forever. You can also go to the Your Stuff button and it should be right there, but please keep me posted, okay? Okay, so before we go into the classrooms aspect, no, I totally lost what I wanted to say. Oh no, okay, I believe we are going into, no, that's what I wanted to do. Geez, my whole life flashed before my eyes there. Okay. So these are a couple of original templates that I wanted to share with everybody that, again, you're more than welcome to use them. You don't have to, but these are just other use cases that might be appropriate for you. So the first one that I know I'm dropping a lot of links on everybody. Amber, I'm glad you found it, okay? That would have been very harsh if you just lost it with a closed tab. That first link that I just dropped in is going to pull you up to this remixable template. Obviously, this is a play on Adobe's identity graphic, where I brought it to that next level of geometry with a prism, adding in the volume formula, adding a couple of traits about this figure, and then also bringing in some real-world examples. Every single bit of this was brought in or created within Adobe Express. I made that volume one with the equation editor and just brought in other images directly from media. So that's one example. If you ever wanted kids to kind of take a math concept and visualize it in a static graphic, that's one example that has really worked well for me. And now this is another piece where this was actually a launch I used with my kids back in the day, where they were exploring. I actually used AI to create this geometric garden. I gave them a couple of examples, and then they had to find even more of those irregular polygons within this space. So if these two kind of appeal to you, would love to have you use them within your own class. All you have to do is either go share or remix if you want to change any of it. But these are two great use cases for the geometry aspect one more time. Okay. We're going to get into classrooms at this point, everybody. So at this time, go to the main homepage right here. Some people have a little bit of a hard time getting back on occasion. All you have to do is go up to the rainbow gradient A in the top left corner right here and click on it, and you will be brought right back. On the left sidebar, you'll see classrooms. Make sure to click on that. And I'm actually going to delete this sample math class that I've already created. Now, I will say this. I'm very passionate about educational technology, certified on a lot of them. Sonia, it sounds like you are as well. It sounds like you really enjoy ed tech, and that's always nice to see. I'm sure we've got other real fans out there in this chat. What's really great about this classroom integration feature is it's very easy to navigate. This is not a heavy lift. And again, probably when you go into classrooms, you're seeing your Clever classes from last year, most likely. If you're not, don't worry about it. When Clever rolls over, I believe we said on the 29th, they should be auto-populated for you. So all we're going to really have to show you today is how to assign something. But in that rare case, I am pretty sure that you use Google Classroom as your LMS. So let's say you had to create a class, Clever wasn't functioning properly, or you have like an after-school group of students and you're doing something with Adobe Express with them and they're not in your technical Clever classes. You can click on Create Class. And I'm going to go Isaac's Math 8. Now, you only have to enter the class name. That is the only required bit of information. But I highly recommend putting down your math subject area, because what that's going to do is it's going to create an animated card for your class. You can then select your grade level or levels, and you can do your period. I'm going to say this is going back to my block days of middle school math, block 1. If you want to add a co-teacher, you could do that as well. Your in-class support, your bilingual teachers that are in there with you if you have that working in your school or district. And then hit save. So you will see that there is this importer roster right here underneath with Google Classroom. Again, I'm predicting that Clever is going to work for you all soon enough once it kind of rolls over. But you could also just take this direct class copy invite link and paste it into Google Classroom if you like. So you have many different options for getting your kids connected to you. But again, I really kind of flew through this because I believe you're going to be set up with Clever. So let's now talk about adding an assignment, okay? Two different ways to do this. The first way is, let's say I'm in an Adobe Express and I'm teaching my students polygons and I want to try to bring it to the real world. I'm going to go into Educator Resources, select Math, and I could do my public geometry garden. You know what? Let's do this actually. I'm actually going to go all subject, and considering the joy that my kids had creating their name tents back in the day. And again, I said this to the group yesterday, boy, we have a color printer and cardstock, and they design these on Adobe Express. That would be awesome. You can click on any of these guided activities that have those video instructions built right in, okay? And you can click on this assign button right here in the top right corner. You're making a template. You've edited a template. Click that assign button. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be required to edit a name or a title of your activity, your name tent. You're going to be required to pick a class, considering I only have the one that's going to happen. Now, really quick, gallery. Gallery turned on is going to allow students to see each other's work. No ability to anonymize students yet, so something to keep in mind. Sonia bummed out to hear that. Hopefully that can change at some point. But I will tell you, if we want to have those digital gallery walks and be able to have kids partner up and give feedback or point out a mistake in a respectful way, or, you know, point out something that was good that was completed by this other student, you can turn on that gallery. You can turn on the gallery after the fact on your assignment. So it doesn't have to be on from the get-go. You know your kids better than I do. You have that discretion. So just throwing that out there. I'm going to put the gallery on, and then all you have to do is click create link. If you want to add more options with like directions and stuff like that, you could do that, but you do not have to. I'm going to hit assign. You also don't need a due date. And now this is a simulation of what you're going to see in real time. Your students will have their names listed underneath along with their avatars. And in real time, their designs are going to update. You will have 4 colors applied to the bottom of their designs with a little bar underneath. Blue for turned in, purple or magenta for in progress, green for returned, where you've given them feedback or asking them to make edits, and red for not started. Where I was working with the digital media specialist in my district for Crayola Creativity Week, I was in a small group with students, talking to them about what creativity meant to them, had this up in front of me while students were working independently, and it was really great to be able to, in real time, in one space, be able to A, give feedback, and B, redirect or compliment as I saw kids continue to work on their projects. So that's the one way to create a project or an activity for students. You're in on a template, and you hit that assign button in the top right corner. Now, the other option you have is from the main classroom page. You can click on Create Assignment, add a title. I'm going to say Getting to Know You. You can add your instructions. I'm not going to put a due date. We got our class. This one, I'll turn the class gallery off. And now you have 2 options over on the right side. You could choose from your stuff. So let's say you have a template you made. I wanted kids to take this geometric garden and label it with base heights and then solve for an area, something along those lines. Or the one I just created, you want to add that for them? Simply click on it and go upload, and then that will be their activity. But the other option you have to give them a little bit more choice is to click on this Choose Project Types button. And you can see that blue cat with animate character, that is one of the options. If you purely wanted your kids to come in and use animate character only, you can click on that. But what you can also do is say, you know what, I want my kids working on a math presentation. They're going to present to me something about some aspect of math. You hit next and you click assign. And unfortunately, I can't demo this as a student, but I can describe it to you easily enough. What's going to happen when kids click on this assignment is they are going to be brought to, on that side work pane, they are going to see only presentation templates available to them that they can then apply to their design and then create and remix. So it's kind of starting from a blank slate, but it forwards to them the templates that are what you chose for the activity type. So if you want to incorporate a little bit more student choice, you can do that activity type as well with them. Okay, so those are the two ways to kind of assign. Since the feature isn't available yet, is it working for everyone else? Is anyone else getting the classrooms not available yet? Because that should not be the case. But if that is, Amanda, I will
We don't have the students in Synergy yet, so we can't
Okay.
update our Google Classrooms.
That's
So
a
those are synced together. So I was just actually on there yesterday, and the whatever students I had were from last year.
Yeah, that's what I heard yesterday. All right, so then I think we're going to kind of expedite this portion. Yeah, I think that we're unfortunately not rolled over to the 25-26 school year. So one thing really quickly. I know I kind of just showed you this, how to create your class and do an assignment. Let's say that you need a refresher once those clever classes are all set up. If you go over to that Learn tab right there, there should be one on a class. Get started with classrooms. This is the one. And if you click right there, you'll see that it's broken up into 3 parts. Considering the classes, yeah, that makes sense, Sonia. Thank you for letting me know. You do have these options to get these 40 and 30-second videos to kind of help you figure out how to assign that activity. Again, once those classes are set up with Clever, I would recommend that Name 10 if you're willing to kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. But what I can also kind of recommend to you under that Educator Resources tab would be that video reflection, where students you don't have to use that front-facing camera. They could also use that animate character, or this Illustrator Creative Self-Portrait, where generative AI, they use the prompt to describe themselves and then words that represent them. Those would be all excellent options to get to know your kids and engage them with this platform to start off the school year. Okay. So I apologize. I'm bummed out to hear that unfortunately those classes haven't rolled over yet. It's a great one, Sonia. It was the challenge, I believe, for April of this past school year. It's a lot of fun. You can get very much lost down the rabbit hole making different versions of yourself. Believe me. I think I can quickly show you. I made something that looks very little like me, but I did do this one for that one. So think about what your kids would do with this. They're describing themselves. You're getting to know them a little bit. You have some great options here with that activity. But at this point, considering we got just under 40 minutes left, I want to make sure that we all feel like we could take something that really applies to what we teach. Okay. So what I'm going to recommend to you now is anywhere from within Adobe Express, not in the design piece, anywhere on that home page or in this main area. You can always search for something specific all the way in that search bar up top. So if I wanted to say like equations or something like that, I can now go search, and you will see all of the different aspects of templates. Okay, and you can see there are some visual worksheets available here. Okay, that does exist. You do have trigonometric equations and identities. I don't even know what that is. That makes me nervous right now. You've got formula sheets, most likely one that would be a little bit basic for kids, but you could still kind of check out the rest of the template. And let's say that you like one and it's not quite what you're looking for. You could just click that favorite button in the top right corner, and then that template or idea is saved for you. Okay, but let's say, as I could see, Amanda, 10th and 11th grade. You can also go to this templates button right here. And this is all new. They have made it so granular on what you could search for that it even goes to the mood of the template. If I wanted if I wanted a mysterious template for math, I think this is including more than math, but you can kind of see that the colors get darker. You could kind of see that you also have regions that you could go into. You could go with styles. You could do type, where you could search for video templates only. And you know you have a video template when you see that play button in the bottom left corner. You can also simply go with those traditional types of filters. So let's clear everything. And let's say that I'm going to math, and then I'm going to type in my grade level of high school. These are all of the different aspects and templates, including calculus report. I don't know if that's going to contain actual calculus. It's more of a starting piece, but you have all of these different options available to you, including what looks like a really good, real world example on this math is everywhere piece right here. So yes, Sonia, like choices forever, so to speak. So with the remaining time, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of close out. Let me just make sure that I'm on pace here. So after setting up the classroom, we're done. All right, so we're going to explore some templates now. So let's say that I really like this. Let's say that I really like how to measure supply and demand. I like that. I'm going to check out this one, okay? Whatever you click on, all you got to do is click Customize Template. And then you're going to be brought in. This is interesting. So there's like a Learn tab also. So now what they're doing, it seems, everybody, and this is brand new even for me, if it's not a guided activity and there's an appropriate Learn video, they offer you this pop-out to go check it out as well. So that's a pretty cool option too. But you have your parabola here and your coordinate plane. You have this very generic table of contents that students could then kind of enhance, and they could bring in images. So one last thing, I promise, and then I'm going to let you explore and I'm going to be quiet again. There's a great tip right here. So I'm going to do a Google search, and I'm going to say reflections on the coordinate plane. I don't know about my 8th grade math teachers out there, but the difference between, what were the two things that my kids would always confuse? I'm going to think about it. There were two aspects, orientation and whatever the other word was. I can't quite remember. Maybe somebody can drop it in the chat for me. But there were two aspects of like reflections and transformations that my kids would always kind of get confused on. But let's say that I find this it might be that, Sonia, not sure. I'm going to keep thinking about it. I'm going to keep, I don't want to waste too much time here. But let's say that I wanted to do this one because it's a reflection right here. And I like this diagram. I feel like this is a good coordinate plane. It's clear. What you could do is you can right click on the image. Now I know, yes, John, I'm fully up on the different ones, translations, all that stuff. Absolutely. It's a matter of, there were two things that my kids, it might have been rotation versus orientation. It might have been that, like where something was facing versus the turn. Might have been that, but I might look it up. So I know you don't see my pop-up window right now, but if you right click on an image within this Google search, you will see that copy image available to you. And now if I go back into this, I know we're talking about supply and demand and parabolas and all that stuff. I can now simply click Control V, and that diagram, that coordinate plane with the reflection showing, I can now crop this. I can remove the background if I want to, although I probably wouldn't in this case because I'm going to lose that grid. But that's how easy it is to bring in a real world example or an example from a PDF. You screenshot it and bring it in. You do have those kinds of options as well. So at this point, until probably about 3 o'clock or so, maybe a little bit beforehand, I'm going to let you all explore the templates or go back into that guided activity on your word problem that we did earlier. I know Sonia wants to kind of finish that one off to hopefully share with everybody before the session's end. But I'm going to be here able to answer any questions you have. As we get to about 3:05, I'll show you some additional resources before we go. And then I'm going to give you the reflection form to close out. So please go into the home page. Again, that rainbow gradient A in the top left. And then simply click on that templates button beneath brands over on the left side. Okay. And again, very easy to translate these flyers. Let's see if I can remember what the thing was that my kids would confuse. Yeah, it was rotations versus orientation. I believe that that's the one. That was the confusion for me and my kiddos back in the day. Sonia, I believe that all of these are being recorded and will be available to you after the fact. Absolutely. It's calling me a student and I don't have an option to add classrooms. I also can't assign, only turn in my content. Amber, so let's try this, Amber. Go to the top right corner of your screen with your little profile account avatar, okay? Click there and scroll down to settings. You should get this pop-up. Scroll down. Make sure that this drop-down says educator. Let me know if that wasn't the case or if it said student. It does say educator. Amber, I'm going to take down your name. Amber Diaz Garcia. All right. I got you, Amber. I'm going to follow up to see why that's the case. So you can't access the templates then. Is that the case? I'm down. All right. So let me do this then for you, Amber. What I can at least do, considering you're like technically a student for some reason, is I can give you that other guided activity at least to kind of work on if you choose to do so. Okay, so I'm going to get that math geometric garden one for you. Okay, here we go. But I'm going to find out. I'll reach out to Jen and I'll reach out to Joe at EdgeGain and I'll see why that's kind of happening to you at the moment. That shouldn't be the case. Everybody else okay to access the educator resources and having teacher accounts out there? If not, please just drop it in the chat so I can kind of follow up with Jen after the fact. I want to make sure that we can use this in the new school year. Thank you, John. So again, if anybody else is experiencing that issue with like teacher access with their account, Amber, are you a new teacher by chance or no? Okay, that could possibly be the reason why. I've sometimes heard that like there's this activation period with new teachers. Amber, what grade level are you? I'm sorry if you already shared that with me. Okay, so high school math, that's pretty good. Yeah, I will follow up with Jen to make sure that that account is up and running for you. But that kind of makes sense. Even though it shouldn't, it kind of does. Oh, that's cool. Sonia has dropped her example, everybody. I just want to make sure that that is clear. Sonia, I am going to check it out, okay? Oh, love the pencil.
I did not record my audio for the entire explanation. It was just short, but it was just to show you that I know how to do it.
If you think I'm going to hold that against you or anyone in this room will, I think we're on different pages on that one. You did a wonderful job. Love the aesthetic. And I got to say that soccer field did really come out with that line going down the middle. It might be a little bit square shaped in the end, but I still like what you did. And I think kids would understand it. I think you did a wonderful job here. I mean, to me, the lip syncing that happens when you listen to your own and play it back, I find it to just be so stellar. It's such a great, awesome feature. Going to definitely forward your link onto the powers that be, Sonia. Appreciate you participating so much. It looks great. You did a wonderful job. I love it, Sonia. Juanita, what do you mean? You're still trying to generate an image that's appropriate for what you're looking for?
I'm a perfectionist and
Oh,
I'm
boy.
trying to do a picture, but everything that comes out just doesn't work. And it has to do
Okay.
with trigonometry. So in every picture I keep putting, I can't put a triangle because the ladder's in the way or the wall's in the way. So
Okay, so did you change the prompt to not kind of have the ladder in the treehouse and all of that stuff?
yeah, I made it to a house instead of a treehouse.
Okay, and you brought in like a composition reference image or no?
Yeah, and it's weird because it keeps bringing a barn. I'm like, I'm not asking for a barn. AI keeps wanting a barn.
So
I'm
tell
like,
me
where's
what the concept is, just for my own reference.
Well, so it's kind of like the treehouse. It's the triangle where you're finding the distance of the side, but instead of having two sides given, you're given one side and an angle.
Oh wow.
You know.
Okay, okay. And you're trying to do this on just a plain house. That's what you said.
Yeah, because I'm not really good at technology, and so I'm like really slow when it comes to this.
Despite this slow moniker that you just gave yourself, you are, really working with this AI, trying your best to make it kind of, fit what you're looking for. So I respect that.
Yeah, well, some of the stuff I learned yesterday from the other ones, like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I just learned how to do that, so that I'm trying to see if it works with what I was doing here, and so, I'm messing around with it all.
Basically, you brought in like a composition piece of like a triangle. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I used the one that was already in the picture because I was like,
Yeah.
let me see how I can manipulate this to see,
Okay.
if I were to make something, like, would it be student friendly? Or like,
Mhm.
here's my template, like, adjust it,
Understood. All right. Let me see if I change it enough. All right. So simple diagram of
I took off the tree, bro. Took out tree
of a house.
with the ladder leaning up against it. Like I switched up the wording to see if it worked.
All right, let's see what happens. I believe you. I mean, I know you're giving a bunch of prompts a try over there, but I appreciate you giving it your best shot. That's what it's all about. And I believe, who explained to me that they were teaching ELA? Somebody previously did. Yes, Amber. Some great. Wow, that's a weird house right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. What is it, Juanita? I don't blame you on that one right there. I mean, that one's not bad, but I don't like the perspective. Maybe you do like simple diagram of a house from a side perspective with a ladder leaning against it. Let me try that one. Let's see. I've done a lot of prompting with math stuff, trying to make it look good. One thing I will say, just for everybody out there, for a math talk I did one time, I did an aerial view of a city map. And it was for parallel lines and transversals, different angle types. So that was a really good one that worked pretty well. So it doesn't really look like I got the side profile. I mean, Juanita, it would probably be a little bit of a challenge on these examples. I do agree with you. I don't know what Adobe Express think houses look like. These are very avant-garde style houses. But I'll keep kind of playing around with that and see if I can kind of work up the poll, a little bit better aspects of kind of keeping things traditional, so to speak. Simple diagram of a traditional house. Let's try that.
maybe a rectangular house.
You could try that.
Story.
You could try that. A one-story ranch house. You could with it. I'm surprised that the side perspective didn't really do much for me right there. Now it looks like we're going into like old house of the little old lady in the house that's the shoe or something. Yeah, this might be a tricky one. So I'm trying to think of what else, Juanita. Maybe like one of those ones that deals with like the street lights and the shadows. Is that something that could be kind of done with this trigonometry style question?
I think so. Like finding the shadow coming off of the lamppost.
Yeah, like the length of that. Yeah, based on the angle of the, end of the shadow that leads towards the top of the object. It's tough sometimes though. Believe me, I know. Believe me. But let me see if I can just find house from side view. That's not really the side view I want. All right, so let me see if I bring this in as a composition piece. All right, let's bring this out. composition. Oh, that's a WebP. All right, let me screenshot it really quick. Great questions, though, and I appreciate you participating. John, that's very possible. You know, you kind of get into some of those moods. It could get a little wild. I was trying to get 2 ribbons, one twice as long as the other, and I could not get it. Sorry to hear that, Amanda. Again, those composition images might be the way to go. Just throwing it out there. All right, let's try this. Let's see what happens with that composition piece. Yeah, John, for me, if I'm looking through templates, I'm not choosing by mood. I'm choosing by the content and what, is most appropriate. All right. I mean, still probably not good enough, Juanita. I'm bummed out to see it, but keep playing around with it. If you find anything before we kind of close out, please drop it in the chat, but just really appreciate you participating and kind of dropping some new ideas on it. I will say, sorry, Juanita, go ahead.
I said, no problem.
Oh, of course. I will say, every school district or, teacher that I talked to recently, SEL is a very big focus, even though, sometimes I would say to myself, who am I to be giving SEL advice to these kids? But I do know wellness practices and all of that good stuff. Amanda, great point. Juanita, Amanda said, have you tried a ladder against a wall? That could be a possibility as well. So maybe give that a shot. But there are just so many great options here for you. Sometimes you got to explore a little bit more. And sometimes you can also change the style with what you generate by going underneath here and picking some of these. You can go techniques and go pencil drawing or a doodle. You can also kind of go with a simple effect, I believe, under concepts. Yes. So you have all different types of things that you can do that are available to you. But that SEL piece, you can have kids do those verbal affirmations with those characters. There are SEL templates with goal setting available within here. I'll tell you what, Juanita, it's getting a little bit better. Like I went with the simple theme underneath, and I feel like these are almost kind of getting where if I didn't put in the composition, I think we're kind of getting closer. So maybe that simple theme when you're doing the generation, I believe it is under concepts. It is. Okay. Yeah, I've spent way too much time on this generative AI piece. Like I've really done a lot. But when you're working with kids from 1st to 12th, you got to kind of, and for anybody who has those students who need that additional support, I did this very recently. What I did was I took the prompt, put the stuff that I wanted my kids to change into parentheses. And I actually did it like a Mad Libs. I printed it for them. And then I wrote underneath what I was looking for. So it was legit Mad Libs. I wrote like 2 colors, or I wrote like something that is an object that your character carries. So you can do that to kind of plan out your prompts beforehand. All right, I'm going to give everybody about 5 more minutes to explore some templates, and then we'll close out.
I kind of missed, I was trying to work on mine when you
Sure.
were explaining, was it how to work with a PowerPoint presentation or slides? Were you doing that, or did you just every time you were adding a new page, it was like creating Google Slides?
It really is just like that. So, I mean, you could start off from any design dimensions and then just add pages. And what's really nice is, as you saw earlier, Sonia, you can add pages of different sizes. So they don't all have to be presentation style. But if you're legit looking for your kids to go in and do a presentation, you could just click on that create, scroll down to create a presentation. And then when they go in, they're going to see all of these different templates available to
in
them.
there.
And then they could search math here, and it's going to.
And when you download those, are those downloadable as PDFs or as an actual Google Slides, or How are you able to export that file?
Download them as a PDF, and you can do it that way. And what's also nice is, let's say you have something from Google Slides that you want to elevate. You can take
Yes,
your Google
that's kind of where I'm
Slide.
going. So I've had,
Yep,
yeah.
you can take your Google Slide, download that as a PDF, go into edit,
Uploaded.
and then go to edit PDF here and upload your file, and then it will bring it in as that presentation style where you'll be able to edit any text boxes or images or otherwise. Okay?
Okay. Okay, because I have quite a few, so I figured to
Yeah.
work with what I have.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's a great start. Take that introductory session that you have with your kiddos that are just going over the basics of, your expectations and all of that. Bring it into Adobe Express.
Into
and edit
Adobe,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Add some anime, add my pencil.
Add the pencil in. We're going to call it Sonia from now on, Sonia.
It's
That
going to be
pencil-
Sonia, the pencil.
Exactly right. I'm going to suggest that to the Adobe team. It's now just yours. No, I'm joking. But yes, the calculator is another great option for that math piece. But that would be a great idea, Sonia. You have that great Google Slides deck that is always crushes with the kids. Download it as a PDF and then use the PDF editor. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. All right. The only other aspect that, I would really recommend is, again, I'm going to check in about that math calculator app because I think that would be valuable to everybody in here. This combine files piece, this allows you to bring in all of these different file types, whether it be images, PDFs, Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or Excel or any of that stuff, to combine it into a PDF. So you have a great option within those editing tools as well. And I promise this is my last thing. Not sure why it does not allow me to add that option. Sonia, not sure what you're speaking about on that one, but I'm going to open this up. I tried when you shared the link. Not sure about that one. Yeah, I think, Sonia, because they might have had add-ons switched off. I believe that's why. That's a control that's with your IT team. So I'm going to see if I can reach out to Jen and get that switched on for you all. If you don't see the quick action that you're looking for within these 3 tabs, click that purple plus button in the top left corner, and then these are all of the different quick actions here, or you could type it into that search bar up top. Let's say that I'm looking to combine files here. Boom, there it is available to you, okay? So it has a lot of dynamic tools available to you. Classrooms seem to be created for you. So once you actually have your classes set up on Clever, that would be your opportunity to then assign something to your kids and give it your best shot. I can only speak for myself. I know that not everybody feels extremely confident all the time with using educational technology. But what I can assure you is this. This is the time. Beginning of the school year is the time to take the chance, because at the very least, your kids are looking at your beginning expectation slides, and you incorporate Sonia's pencil or Emmerich or, the Roman person, and you're having that individual explain the expectations. Whatever your mascot is for your school. Maybe you're the Sharks. Maybe you're the Tigers. Maybe you are something along those lines. They have those animals. Not sure about Panthers specifically, Sonia, but I know they have a tiger. I know that piece. So you have a lot of different options available to you to try to engage students even more. And again, in 8th grade, I remember when I would try to introduce something traditionally compared to integrating creative technology. And when I tell you all, from the bottom of my heart, this tool was one that I saw smiles on kids' faces. I saw kids bringing in music. I saw kids bringing in fire in the background where it was not appropriate, but at the same time, I could still read the word problems. I could still see what they were doing with the Pythagorean theorem and their, volume projects. I got to know them through this tool. It's always very meaningful to me to be able to share it with everybody else and hope that you get this up and running with your kids when the time comes in about a couple weeks. So bottom line for me, before we close out, big time, Sonia, I am going to drop my email into the chat, where if anybody wants to ever reach out, ask me any questions, you're passionate about saying, I want that bearded guy to come back and help with another PD on Adobe Express. It was valuable to me. That's all I can hope, other than hopefully you know my name is Alex, but it's no problem if not. That is my email. Feel free to email me your designs if you're working on them. Ask me questions. Reach out about math resources. I'd be happy to go back and forth with you. And again, I promise those 2 links that I dropped with regard to my math stuff, I will have those boards public to everybody, where you'll be able to access those and use with your kids. Really hope to help those grade 7, grade 8, grade 9 teachers doing algebra and pre-algebra concepts. Okay. So at this point, we've reached the end of this like mini deck or mini web page. And now we're going to the end of this main web page. So look, I have a link to share in just a moment. Let me do this quick spiel and then we'll be on our way. I never thought years ago that as a middle school math teacher, I'd be an Adobe level 1, 2 innovator, trainer for EdgeGain, all this stuff. I started by simply participating in the monthly challenges. Monthly challenges usually start back up in September or August, depending on the year. And if you just simply join this group, if you go to Adobe Express's Twitter or their Facebook group, you will see what those challenges are. And as long as you're sharing them on socials, you kind of make that name for yourself as somebody who's a proponent of the platform. And again, me as a math teacher, this is one that I really loved using in the class. So as far as your ability to join a group of educators that is excellent, brilliant, former math teachers, bouncing ideas off of each other, all of that good stuff, this link, where if you click here or if you scan that QR code, it's going to bring you to, get this, another web page. We're really hitting the web pages in the Adobe Creative Educator community, where you will learn about the program, how to sign up in the United States and support your students with monthly meetups, or how, different type of access to different groups, or even webinars that take place weekly, I believe on Thursday. So if you're looking for more of those use cases in different classroom content areas, you could do that. You also get some really nice perks as far as swag. And maybe you really decide you want to be a trainer. Then you could get paid on the side as an opportunity to kind of share your passion for the platform. And again, this is not me trying to get everybody to become an innovator and a trainer, but I can say I've had about 3 individuals who sat in on my trainings who later went on to become innovators. And when I tell you that, A, makes me feel very old, and B, makes me ecstatic at the same time, I mean it. So you really have all of these different opportunities and explanations within this webpage. I will say they fly innovators they pay for lodging for 3 days at San Francisco, San Jose, or New York, when all the innovators come together as a group for their final summit that just took place last week. And last year, we got these lovely Adobe baseball jackets. So great swag, great community, can't promote it enough, always kind and helpful. And I would tell you, consider checking it out if you feel like this platform is really one that you're going to be using consistently in your class. So at this point at 3:08, I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to complete this final feedback survey. And then as long as nobody has any questions or anything else that they need, you are more than welcome to go get your little break in before the next session. I will tell you, I did shameless plugs all of yesterday. If you would like to join me for the last session, if this was not enough, we are going to be working on infographics. And one of the projects is math themed with a day in data. You're more than welcome to join, although I fully appreciate if this was more than enough of Alex Isaacs for the day. But one last time, it was an absolute pleasure. Can't thank everybody enough for participating so actively in the chat and with voice and by sharing some designs. So really appreciative of everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference if I don't see you at the next one. But at this point, the link is in the chat for your feedback. Please be honest with me. Helps me grow as a trainer. Hope you found it entertaining. Hope you found the 2 hours and 10 minutes very quick. And I'm just wishing you all a wonderful, successful school year. Hopefully that includes Adobe Express. So I'm going to stick around for 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions or follow-up, please let me know. But beyond that, wishing you a great rest of your day and rest of the conference, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you, Juanita. Appreciate your effort. Now I get to put the check mark next to my little session. All right, let's stop the recording. All right.